recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'm totally indoctrinated. I learned that when I was 4 or 5, huh?
On this day, Wednesday, June 11th, 2012, at 4 p.m., the regularly scheduled board meeting of the Chicago Park District is being held in the 8th floor boardroom of the Administration Building at 541 North Fairbanks Court, Chicago, Illinois. Will the Secretary take a roll call of the Commissioners?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Shalaby?
Here.
Commissioner Koldeck? Commissioner Hanlon?
Here.
Commissioner Lavelle?
Here.
Commissioner Salgado? Vice President Armstrong?
Here.
President Trubert?
Here.
Quorum is present. Let the record reflect that General Superintendent Michael Kelly and General Counsel Maria Garcia are also in attendance.
This meeting will please come to order. Item number 1, resolution honoring former Chicago Park District employees.
Good afternoon. I'm Tanya Anthony, Chief Administrative Officer for the Chicago Park District. We'd just like to take a moment, a couple times a year, to recognize long-serving employees that have left the district. So I'd just like to read into the record their resolution. I'll read off their names. These are employees that have left the district between January 1st of 2012 and June 30th of 2012. Resolution from the Board of Commissioners of the Chicago Park District presented by Michael P. Kelly, General Superintendent and CEO, on July 11th, 2012. Whereas the Chicago Park District takes great pleasure and pride in recognizing its employees who have dedicated numerous years of service to the Park District and the City of Chicago, and whereas these employees have greatly contributed to the Park District's goals and exemplify the meaning of hard work, commitment, and passion to the Park District and the City of Chicago seeks in all of its civil servants, and whereas these unique individuals have provided invaluable services to park patrons and communities, serving in various positions which include attendants, administrative secretaries, engineers, floriculturalists, management, natatorium instructors, park and playground supervisors, and trades. And whereas their years of service are a testament to the positive relationship and environment the Park District fosters and provides its employees, then, therefore, be it resolved that the General Superintendent and the Board of Commissioners extend their heartfelt gratitude to this exclusive group of employees for their years of dedication and commitment to the Chicago Park District and to the citizens of the City of Chicago, and sincerely wish them success, good luck, and happiness as they enter the next chapter of their lives. Signed, Brian Trubert, President, Board of Commissioners, Michael P. Kelly, General Superintendent and CEO. This resolution will be presented to the following individuals: Mary Pat McGuire, 34 years of service. Beverly E. Kress, 34 years of service. Carol Grandolfo, 33 years of service. Russell Richco, 32 years of service. Liz Milan, 31 years of service. Keith A. Sorensen, 30 years of service. Clara Simmons, 26 years of service. Anthony Navarro, 16 years of service. Phil Mercurio, 38 years of service. Sarah Bush, 34 years of service. Gardner McFadden, 32 years of service. And Mary P. McWalters, 28 years of service. Thank you.
Do we have anyone here, Tanya, that we can have stand and be recognized?
We've actually reached out to the employees, and they all say they spend a lot of time in the Park District, and if they want to see you, they'll just stop by and see.
So after my quick math, after 360 some odd years of service, they wanted to enjoy their retirement. Well, I give them for the record, a wholehearted congratulations. It's important that we recognize these folks. I've been around nearly 10 years at the Park District, and you get to talking to some of the folks out in the field, and you say, hey, how long you been around? And I tell them some story about my 7 hard years I put in or something, and they're like, oh, 7. Well, I'm coming on 37, and it's always been staggering to me the dedication, because a lot of these folks are the lifeblood of the community, are the lifeblood of the park. This is government. You guys, we don't give gold watches away. A lot of times you get an attaboy, you get maybe a nice party thrown by your fellow employees at the park, and then you go. I see a lot of these folks, and a lot of these folks, I'll tell you, you'll see them the next weekend, despite it, you'll see them in the park.
Yes.
So I certainly wish them all the best, and I'm thankful that we did this resolution today.
And we'll be doing it again in December.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike. And if I can just add from the commissioners, how impressive to all these 33, 34-year-old veterans. But I think that what commissioners hear as we go around the city and people know that we're involved in parks is you'll meet lifelong Chicagoans, and we all hear these stories where they'll say, I was a park rat.
Yes.
And then they'll go on and they'll mention a couple people who really changed their lives. And I'm sure that that's the story with a lot of the people that you named here today. So on behalf of the commissioners, we thank you very, very much for your service.
Great. Vote.
We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Will Secretary take a roll call of the commissioners?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Shalaby.
Aye.
Commissioner Hanlon.
Aye.
Commissioner Lavelle.
Aye.
Commissioner Salgado.
Aye.
Vice President Armstrong.
Aye.
President Trobert.
Aye.
Motion carried, and the matter is adopted.
Item number 2, approval of the minutes from the annual meeting held on Wednesday, June 13th, 2012. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
If no objection, we'll apply the last favorable roll call vote from the prior matter to this matter.
Motion carried, and the matter is adopted.
Next, under presentations from the departments. First, there will be a presentation of second quarter MBE WBE utilization report from the Director of Purchasing.
President Traubert, Commissioners, General Superintendent and CEO Kelly, good afternoon. My name is Rafi Sarafian and I am the Director of Purchasing, and I'm here today to present to you the Department of Purchasing's second quarter MBE WBE report. This report is a reflection of the Department of Purchasing's efforts to ensure that minority and women-owned businesses have a fair opportunity to participate in Chicago Park District contracts and are included in the procurement process at the CPD. Pursuant to Chapter 11 of the Code of the Chicago Park District, some of the steps that the Department of Purchasing takes in pursuit of this commitment include: 1. Attaching the 25% MBE and 5% WBE requirements in our specifications for contracts. 2. Advertising specifications for contracts whose value exceeds $10,000 as target market solicitations. 3. Including small purchases in the Chicago Park District's target market program. And 4. Our outreach efforts. This report also reflects the ongoing and daily efforts of the Department of Purchasing to verify and ensure the participation and utilization of MBE and WBE firms, including: 1. Unannounced site visits to CPD construction sites, and 2. Either with each payment or utilization report receiving copies of canceled checks from the GC to their MBE and WBE subcontractor, or waivers of liens from the MBE WBE sub to their GC. So what's the result of these efforts, or how are we doing? The goal of the MBE WBE program, as defined in Chapter 11 of the Code, is to award not less than 25% of the annual aggregate contract value of contracts that purchasing manages to MBEs, and 5% of the annual aggregate contract value of contracts that purchasing manages to WBEs. I am pleased to say that through the second quarter of 2012, we are exceeding this goal. Specifically, 28% of the aggregate dollar value of contracts that purchasing manages to date have been expended with MBEs and 8% with WBEs. This participation is measured over approximately 320 contract awards, over 260 RFQ project awards, and over 3,300 small purchases. The Department of Purchasing is one part of the business side of the Chicago Park District, and it has the same responsibility as the other departments here to serve Chicago's communities. Through the inclusion of minority and women-owned businesses in the procurement process at the Chicago Park District, The Department of Purchasing works daily to support the Park District efforts to build better communities throughout the city. And lastly, this report is the product of the hard work of a few people that I would like to recognize. Dee Brookins, Deputy Director of Purchasing; Louisa H., Compliance Officer; Shelley Jones, Contract Administrator; Cameron Harmon, Staff Assistant to the Chief Administrative Officer; and Kashawna Franklin, Purchasing Intern. Thank you for your opportunity to present this report to you today. Are there any questions?
Wanted to point out this is an excellent report. The
Thank you.
format, the way you laid it out for us. I just want to say congratulations.
Thank
to
you very
your
much,
team
Commissioner.
for their hard work and for giving us this kind of information and for all your efforts.
Thank you very much.
Bias, Rafi, of course, but I too want to say thank you. And,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Rafi, are there cases where we let out contracts and we're told that they're going to meet these numbers, and then in fact they don't, and you catch them?
Yeah, we do. There are occasions where contractors don't meet their commitment, but we have to look at where we are in the contract timeline, so to speak. So using construction as an example, if we're building a field house and we put out a spec to build a field house, and the awardee says they're going to use some MPEs and WBEs to paint the walls or do some finish work inside, I will not hold them accountable when at phase one, when they're excavating and pouring foundations and building the structure and not even yet putting a roof over the facility. So what matters is at what point in the process are we, number one. Number two, when we do find that a GC is falling short, we're aggressive and we call in the GC. We'll even call in the sub. We'll ask them what's going on. We'll ask the GC to give us an action plan, steps you're going to take to bring your numbers up. And so our efforts are effective. We also go to the next step. If the GC is still not meeting their commitments and their schedules, we'll even go to the step of holding back POs. We've at times we've looked at holding payments. We won't exercise an extension. So there are remedies we have available to us that we find to be very effective to working with our GCs to get them to move up.
And all the way to liquidated damages if it's indicated.
Oh, of course, and beyond that, to debarment. And our debarment can be for any period of time, including lifetime, personally for the owner of the company and also for the company itself, for the corporation.
Rafi, thanks for the seriousness with which you're taking this. It is really important that we do this and do it the very best that we can. And we're going to hear from you quarterly, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you'll also hear from me. I also will give a year-end report, too.
Very good, thanks.
Thank you.
The Chicago Park District recently completed its Green Initiative review. The Director of Green Initiatives, Brendan Daly, will address the board regarding the review.
Good afternoon, President Traubert, Commissioners, Superintendent Kelly. You have in your board packets the Illinois Park and Recreation Association Environmental Scorecard for your review. In 2006, the IPRA Environmental Committee developed a scorecard to help park agencies in Illinois assess their environmental impact and stewardship. The scorecard was updated in 2011. During the update process, IPRA sought my assistance to help craft the current version of the scorecard. After the update, I decided to complete the scorecard for the Chicago Park District. You'll note that our score is 92%, which means the Park District is an environmental leader in our field. Through efforts such as sustainable landscaping, environmental programming, energy and water efficiency, green buildings and operations, we continue on a daily basis to ensure we're not only focused on recreation, but comprehensive environmental conservation. Your review of the scorecard is also part of our certification process for the Distinguished Park and Recreation Accreditation given by Illinois Park and Recreation Association. IPRA requires that we complete the scorecard and that our board yourselves review it. Thank you. Green is good. That's all I got.
Great.
All right.
Any questions, comments for Brendan?
Thank you, Brendan.
Brendan,
thank you.
I just have one quick question, which is, how is information relayed to the users of the park so that they begin to understand more about what it is that we're doing and what their role is in it? And I say that because I use the parks a lot. I note that in some parks,
people they don't know which receptacles are which. So you get a lot of garbage in the recycling receptacles and things like that. And they don't know some of the basics, some of the very basic premises for recycling and green initiatives. And so I wonder how we get that information out.
Commissioner, it's always a challenge to make sure that we push the message out and that park patrons, old or new, know what we're doing. Let me give you 2 examples of how we've done that in the past. Through our energy services contract, performance contracting program, which you all are familiar with, where we're going into facilities and doing energy efficiency upgrades. Each one of those facilities had an individualized sign that was placed in the building that talked about the work that was going on in that building, the savings, not only in terms of taxpayer dollar savings, but savings to the environment, carbon emission reductions and such. That's one way we do it. Another way we've done it in the past is through our dandelion flyer, where in the summer we get a lot of dandelions in the parks, of course. Part of the reason we do get them is because we don't put a lot of chemicals down on the turf, which is a good thing from a green standpoint. We developed a flyer that not only explained that, but also told people what they can do in their yards and in their homes to reduce chemical usage. So what my office tries to do is look at it comprehensively across the board, across all parks and regions, which can always be challenging given the diversity of Chicago. One final example that I'll note is the sticker that we developed for our recycling cans, that we really took some thought and time into how do we develop a sticker for people that may come from a different culture where they've never recycled anything in their lives, where they come from a culture where they don't necessarily speak English, or even if they have challenges reading. So we developed a sticker that has pictures, that is in Spanish and English, and it's very simplified to talk about what you can and cannot recycle in our park. So we take communication very seriously, and we try to push it out as comprehensively as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just on that point, it seems like that could be a place of cooperation with the public schools and other entities. Just in terms of more education we do about recycling and how to recycle in multiple institutions, that could have a spillover effect to the parks.
Point taken, it certainly can. I think if you'll note, our cans our recycling cans are the same color as the containers that the public schools use, that the city uses through their residential program. So when we're messaging these things, we coordinate with our counterparts at CPS at the city to make sure that we're all on point and staying on message, so that if you come into a park, you're seeing the same types of recycling opportunities, for example, that you may see in a school or you may see in a city facility. Definitely. Thank you.
Okay, we'll now hear a presentation regarding the Nike initiative.
Oh, did you
We're out of order.
Yeah, Nike's next.
Never mind.
Get queued up.
Good afternoon. Alonzo Williams, Director of Revenue. Good morning, good afternoon rather. How's everyone doing today? I have with me some representatives from Nike, and they would love to give you guys a presentation of what we're doing special out of South Fieldhouse.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Ryan Carter, work at Nike as the running brand manager here in the Central Territory. We're home based here in Chicago. We market across 22 states in the middle of the United States. Our offices are right down the street at Grand and Rush. And this is my counterpart, S.J. Ludke. S.J. handles all of our events as well in the Central Territory. So we've been working closely on this project together since December. So what we'd like to do is first set it up a little bit for those of you who aren't familiar with it, and then take you through a few photos just to give you a sense of what we've been created and what's started out in Lincoln Park. So we started out on this Park District and Nike partnership in hopes to really get Chicago more active. And in way of doing that was to provide free programming and events that would motivate and inspire that activity. So we saw an opportunity to create this partnership with the Chicago Park District that was very unique for the Nike brand, and to my knowledge, really in this deep way hadn't been done with an entity like the Chicago Park District. So, and in that would be not only having this programming, but also a give back component to not only some capital improvements to the facilities that are out there in the park, but also again having this programming that's free, as well as just a pure give back product donation, things like that. And then as well, we are certainly a private company, and we're not hiding from the fact that we're going to showcase our latest products. But we do feel like the whole idea here is to showcase these product innovations as a way to motivate and inspire athletes to do more. And as our founder, Bill Bowerman, said, if you have a body, you're an athlete. So we're all athletes here. And in getting to today, I just want to make it clear that we worked hand in hand every day, 3-4 times a day, probably calling Alonzo and his staff. And not only that, he really guided us through this process in doing our due diligence within the community, whether that was meeting with the Lincoln Park Advisory Council, sitting down with the 18th District Commander, Commander Angarone, Sergeant Ray, doing our due diligence there for our special events. And certainly I sat down with Alderman Smith, and I think that's it, but I just want to make it clear that we did. I know that's probably nothing. Again, new ground for Nike. But so let me just take you a few photos of how it looks. So you guys are familiar with the South Field House. We also wanted to be very mindful of the historic nature of the building. Like I said, we live here. We don't live in Portland, where our headquarters are, but we live here, so this is our community as well. So this is the exterior of the building, and just to give you guys a sense of some of the things that are happening inside the building. We have our programming schedule posted. So this is our weekly ongoing programming that is free. That's going to be happening here. Everything from training workouts to run clubs to basketball. Everything's really happening here at what we're calling the Nike Fuel House. And this is a shot of one of those free programming classes that happened recently out on the south patio. So we did a little bit of renovation there. As you can see, the awning isn't there any longer, but certainly being put to use and being used with lots and lots of activity so far. So next you see the inside. So these are things that we had to sort of fabricate and build ourselves. This is on the north end of the field house. And this is an activity where the products that we have actually can measure how high you jump. They can measure how fast you do a fast feet drill and how quickly you can jump rope in an amount of time. So it's really amazing product innovation, and we're showcasing it here. Young man doing some jump rope. So, and you get a score, and then we can always, emulate MJ inside the field house on a slightly smaller goal, but we can get you playing a little basketball in there as well. So speaking of basketball, we also did look on the north side of the by the adjacent to the turf field out there on the north side of the complex, and this is over a basketball court that's been built is temporary over the existing basketball court. And once we're done, we're going to be working with Alonzo's team to refinish the existing basketball court. The lighting that we did install will remain as part of the capital improvement for the project. And then this is just an example of the kind of crowds that we've been drawing at some of our special events. This is a dunk competition we had on 6/29, and really excited. We're proud of the fact that we had a very safe event, and again worked very closely with Alonzo, the commander. These were during, if you remember the heat wave we had, working very closely on what would be a safe event to have, not only from a security standpoint, but also from just a heat standpoint for participants and spectators. Again, another special event. This is happening on the wood basketball court out there, so we're using it in a multitude of ways here. So this was an event actually SJ led and had a couple hundred young females out to work out with former Olympian Shawn Johnson. And this is just a shot of our Nike Fuel Band. I'm wearing it here today as well. And this is the only product we are selling inside the building. And this product, what it does, it gives you a score for moving around. So as I'm sitting here talking to you guys, I'm actually earning points or Nike Fuel. So we've already seen a lot of demand. There's only very, very few places in the world that sell the Nike Fuel Band. And when the old Nike Town reopens in September, this product will be sold there. And that's it. Just a couple quick shots. Thank you very much for your time today. We certainly appreciate the opportunity to come here and present this work. We're very proud of it as a brand, and hopefully you guys are as proud of it as a city as we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's really worth going out. It's so cool to see this area get activated, and the beautiful wood hard court that you built out there is terrific. I've had a lot of people ask me what's going on there. Do you have league? You've organized a league, and where can we find out? What's the website we can go find out and catch that?
The best place for people to get information is going to be at our Twitter handle. So at Nike Chicago is going to be the best place to go for that, for information, and we'll directly respond to anyone there. There are also, if you go to nike.com/GameOnWorld, you'll start to find more information about what's going on in each of the cities that have some of these larger activations: New York, Los Angeles, Chicago.
I just want to, for the record, thank you guys. You guys have been a first-class partner from the day we first met. It's great to see this thing from where it was a vision and a brain session into what it is now. I think it's inspired a lot of people on my staff about what we can do with alternatives with our own facilities. I do recommend anybody who hasn't been out there, it's worth the trip. And just the comments I get back, I can pretty much assure you that there will be a Mayor Emanuel sighting, at least one.
Just give us a heads up.
Yeah, I will. If I can, I will.
Well, to that end, we, knowing that we had to get our dust rags out a little bit here the last week or so, we weren't sure exactly when the grand opening date would be. We want to invite everyone here and others, those that I mentioned that we worked with, to come to open house. We are targeting next Thursday night for the date. We will get back through Alonzo's office on specifics within the next 24 to 48 hours on that.
Great.
What's the exact address?
I'm sorry?
The exact address.
Oh, the exact address. We're saying 1800 North Stockton.
Just west of the artificial turf field?
Just southwest, yeah.
And this, to state the obvious, but in these times of flat budgets, to be able to activate something and to have a partner like you, it makes a huge difference. And the Chicago Park District, in addition to getting this space activated, has received a healthy fee from Nike in doing so. So thank you very much. It's making a real difference to us this summer.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. And we hope this is only the beginning of a relationship that goes much longer than just this summer.
We do too. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Next is the introduction of Digitas summer interns from the Strategy and Policy Officer.
Okay, so good afternoon, Gia Biaggi, Director of Strategy and Policy. So I don't believe we have any interns here. If we do, stand up. And I'm actually not one of the interns, but I am here to tell you about the project. This is another example of a great partnership with a corporate partner to take us to the next level at the Park District. So we partnered with Digitas to do a summer internship program. And this is a program where they bring in 25 of some of the best and brightest graduate level students in marketing, branding, and technology to work at their firm and essentially audition for jobs at their firm through this internship project. Digitas is a global branding and marketing firm. They have clients. They just recently won Taco Bell as a client. Miller Brewing is a client. So you're talking a major brand maker. And what they really try to do is integrate social media and technology into these campaigns that are very sort of strategic marketing. So the purpose of the project is to improve our branding and marketing and really look at a strategic plan for teens. As we've gone through the strategic planning process and really made children our focus, one key demographic that we have a hard time getting in the door is teens. We lose kids right before they become teens, and then it's hard to get them back in the door until they're in their 20s or maybe have children of their own and coming back to the park. So we wanted to really focus on a topic with them. The end product will be an integrated marketing strategy that they will present to both executive leadership at the Park District as well as executive leadership at Digitas in August. So I'm going to show you a sample of what they've already produced in terms of priming this group of marketing folks to do this project. And so this is their creative brief that they presented to the group of interns, and I just pulled things out of it because I think you'll find it pretty interesting, and you can see the pathway we're going down. So what they did was they're doing a series of man-on-the-street interviews, and the font's a little small here, but essentially we asked them to talk to teens all over the city and talk to teens that reflect a wide range of demographics, whether it's income, whether it's areas of the city, all kinds of things. And so they have 3 that they've started with. So we have Megan, Daniel, and Kelly. Megan, Northsider, born and raised, loves art, music, and hanging out. Daniel has moved around a lot, lives in the central in Englewood, and loves basketball, but lives in a high crime area. And Kelly, who is starting her senior year in the fall, lives in the South Shore neighborhood, and lives in an area also with a lot of crime, but loves to go to the beach and hang out. And this will tell you how sort of they're stacking up these profiles of the kids we need to reach. And I think what we've already learned is that we can't just focus on teens as a singular demographic either, that there's market segmentation to be done within teens groups, so we've asked them to get more complicated. So what's on the minds of teens this summer? Megan, she has a weekly allowance, she's going to camp in Oregon, she loves Lollapalooza, that kind of thing. So that's one segment of teens that we want to bring into our parks. But then we have Daniel, whose mom works 2 jobs. His brothers, this is a real person, this is a real kid. His brothers are in a gang, and they want him to join. But one of the things that he does is play basketball. He even played in a championship league at the Park District. We want to offer him more opportunities. And then Kelly, who works in the summers, but then the parks that she's gone to, she even had a friend who was hit by a bullet by crossing the wrong gang line. And so these are kids who have very adult problems in their lives, but who want to be kids and want to be in the parks. So in common, this is teens. And frankly, if you're under the age of 19, you should probably leave the room because we look even dorkier than we already are by talking about what we think you want. But teens, they're under pressure, they're unsure. Peer pressure is a big component. And what we want to do is figure out how to get teens into parks by going back. What did they do? With the parks, almost all teens have had some interaction with us. So Megan, when she was 6, was in art camp. Daniel played basketball in a CPD after-school program. Kelly met her best friend at a summer camp. When they were 10, Megan saw a beluga at the Shed Aquarium. Daniel met a Bears player at one of our football camps. Kelly joined an after-school swim team. So we have built these relationships with preteens, really. 14, okay, so here's where we're starting to lose them. Megan watched her favorite movie at a movie in the park. Daniel was on a championship 3-on-3 team, and Kelly graduated really to being a junior counselor in the same camp where she learned how to swim. Okay, but here's what happens. Once they get to about 14, they won't even consider our programs because it's not cool and not cool according to their friends. So this is a symbol of what our challenge is. Essentially, teens view us as childish, dorky, 2 structures, and they wouldn't want to tell their friends that they're in one of our programs. The truth hurts. And so what we want to show them is that there's a lot to offer. We have teens in the parks all the time, but they don't even realize they're in one of our programs or in something that we offer, like Lollapalooza, like the arts activities that they may be doing in a park or movies in the park. So the challenge that Digitas is undertaking for us is that teens, they do care a lot about what their friends think, and CPD is not on the list, so we need to move, this is Digitas's terms, from dorky to the place to be. So the integrated campaign will be looking at particularly social media. That's where teens are most active in communicating about what to do, who's doing it, where. We asked them to look all across the city to make sure that they do focus groups, man-on-the-street interviews, attend events where teens do actually come and really understand what teens want. The participant is really who we're going after in terms of marketing, and so again, we're looking at various demographics, and we're looking at kids who either you've been in the parks or maybe you've not been on the parks, and so we want to hear from them about what they would like to do. What's worth noting, what's up in their world? So there are a lot of the research that Digitas is doing is compiling how teens sort of feel about whether it's leisure time or what's going on in their lives, how they feel even overwhelmed by a lot of the technology that they're constantly interacting with. And so there'll be an integration of all of this research into the marketing strategy. And then these are sort of some of the big ideas about what teens are right now, things that we need to sort of tap into. And then their digital habits. And so this is another key piece of expertise that Digitas is bringing to the table. And I should add that essentially these 25 interns are broken down into teams of 4 or 5 and then partnered with 2 executives at Digitas. So this is a very rigorous program. It's very involved, and it's definitely the expertise of the professionals at the firm. But worth noting, of course, as you imagined, over almost 90% of teens are using social networks. Teens are still using Facebook, so you've heard maybe it's becoming passé, but no, they're leaving Facebook and coming back. And there's also Twitter. And one thing that we're learning is different segments of teen populations use Twitter more than others, and that's something we need to figure out if we're going to use it as a media and marketing tool. And then the brands that teens are keeping company with, everything from lots of things you'll see happen in a park here, whether it's the Bears at Soldier Field, Lollapalooza. There are a number of places where we're in teens' lives, and again, they don't even realize it. We need to figure out how to connect them to our brand. So really, this is how the structure of the branding activity that Digitas is undertaking. So coming from an essential insight, the convergence with impact, how do we know we have a good idea, and then coming up with that active branding idea. And that's what they'll be presenting to us in August. Basic consumer insights for teens, it's cooler if it's unrehearsed. The impact, let's put CPD back on the short list. And so that's how those converge, and that's the active branding idea. This is one example of the kinds of insights that we'll be receiving from them. So last thing, so the next steps are, the project's already underway, so it started back in June, and it'll be running through August. They'll check in with us periodically and get some feedback from us on what they're seeing and learning. There'll be a final presentation in a sort of a juried presentation to Digitas and Park District executives, and then it's up to us to integrate some of these ideas. So it could be everything from particular apps that we could develop that would be particularly appealing. It could be some of our creative assets that we don't market well and we should market better. It could be any number of things. And so for us, this is really an important leap forward, I think, to being more strategic about how we bring people into our programs, not just on day one, but for a lifetime. So are there any questions? Yeah.
Are we alone in this situation with respect to teens and park use, or is this something that other park districts are wrestling with?
I think many park districts are wrestling with this, and I think we'll probably, when we come out at the end of this with a strategy, we'll probably be one of very few park districts that have really sat down and looked at that market segment. But even, advertisers are struggling with this as well. So in part of our dialogue with Digitas, we've talked about, how hard it is for any kind of entity, if you're Taco Bell, if you're the park district, how you get at that segment. So they are a constant moving target. But I think we'll be on the cutting edge at the end of this.
I hope, looking forward, that this is something we can expand on even. That central note on I think it was Daniel, it was shocking to read that, and to be able to offer him some other stuff to do in his life other than that would be a real success if we can move forward in the future and have a structure of stuff for kids to do, teenagers particularly.
Definitely. And we're experimenting with some things this summer. We have a brand new teen league, which is really bringing kids into the parks on Fridays and Saturdays and sort of limited adult interaction, but doing sports and things that are positive. But I think you're right. I think we're going to have a better sense of what kinds of programs we should provide. And even the way that we describe them to teens, the way, even the mechanisms we use for outreach need to change in order to convince them to come into our market. I mean, the Facebook page that we have, for example, right now, we know it's mostly moms that are interacting with us on Facebook. It's a lot of moms.
Very important audience.
Very important audience. But then maybe we need some different interaction on Facebook, a separate page, that kind of thing for teens. So we're going to learn that here.
Gee, first of all, I want to thank Digitas. Digitas is this world-class marketing firm, and they're giving this to us pro bono. And for us to be the recipients of this kind of look from the outside, particularly with this most important demographic, we really appreciate the generosity of Digitas. And then to you and your staff for the effort that you're putting in this. I know this probably 6 months ago wasn't on your list of things that you thought you'd be doing this summer, but to lead an excellent process, because we have how many interns that are
25.
25 interns from great colleges and universities all over the country who are focused on this very issue. So thanks for taking this on.
Thanks.
And of course, you're always too humble, but I do want to say for the record, it was President Traubert's effort and his network that put us in a room to begin with Digitas. And what's amazing to me is we're not going to rest on our laurels at the Park District, I can assure you. Kudos to Gia, kudos to everybody else on our team here. People are hustling, whether it's a Nike deal or it's Digitas, and where this impacts the public, which is a great thing, is it starts out as a discussion about our brand and our marketing and how we take advantage of things of social media, and it completely starts leaping into how do we change lives of teens, which we all know are at risk in this city right now. So stay tuned, but I mean, I think these are great things, and I just want to thank you as well, and also thank the folks at Digitas.
Great, Jay. Hope to see you back then once we have
We'll be back in
final
August. Yeah, I think
report.
you're on the jury, so.
All right. So next we're going to hear from the Chief Administration Officer to briefly discuss the Civic Consulting Alliance survey.
Good afternoon again. And I'll briefly discuss this. But it's an exciting project. This project came about as we were preparing to develop our strategic plan. And the leaders here at the Park District thought it would be a great idea to conduct a survey of park users to answer some of the questions that we had on the table. Questions like, how do we better serve our customers? What are we doing well? What could we do better at? How can we best manage our assets and increase usage and increase our revenue? So we submitted a proposal to the Civic Consulting Alliance, and I'll explain who they are a little further. They found this project to fall within their scope of services and within their mission, so they accepted us and decided to start looking for one of their partners to take on this exciting project. So I'll walk you through some of that. The Civic Consulting Alliance is basically a firm that looks to reshape how the city works. They build pro bono relationships and with an idea of trying to shape the city to become more livable, affordable, and global. They also have partners that they work with, and Holland Partners is the partner that they chose for us for this particular project. They have a specialty in branding, communication, research, and they'll be the ones conducting the actual survey for us. So at the end of this presentation, you will know the who, what, when, where, how, and why of this project, not necessarily in that order, but you'll understand what we're trying to get at. So why are we doing this? How can we align our program offerings with customer demand to create a program that allows CPD to be the Chicago's premier provider of recreation opportunities in a cost-effective way? How are we going to do this? So what we're doing here is we're going to start off by looking at our data and evaluate, kind of just establish baselines to see, well, you know, what have we been doing and what are we doing and kind of what are the trends that we see. The second thing is we're going to set benchmarks. We're going to start looking at other organizations, other community organizations, other park districts that are equal to us in size. There's not many that are equal to us in, you know, providing services, but we try to find somebody that comes close. We have folks that are we're looking at competition, the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, things like that, just to see that how we can partner with them. Or, you know, maybe there's some things that the Park District does that they do better, and when there are things that we do that we should be doing on our own exclusively. So the third thing is, which the biggest crust of this particular project, is a survey to determine what our customers want. Then at the end of this, they'll provide guidance on our program mix and our approach, and kind of just like we were talking with Digitas. We already know pretty much that the teens are a market that we need to reach out to, but there are some things that we don't know, and so this project will guide some of those decisions. So far we've started on some of the research and data analysis. The survey goes online beginning the week of the 23rd. You'll start to see posters and email blasts. It's going to go out to all of our customers. So whatever customer list we have at the district, they're going to get an email saying, hey, please take our survey. Posters are going to go up and say, hey, if you can click on this link, take our survey, and please get back to us. We have beach ambassadors on the beaches. They're going to be passing out handouts and educating people and asking them if they would mind taking our survey. And what we expect to get out of that is the trends. How are we doing? What can we do better? What do people want from the parks? How do people use our parks? And then how do they view us? We already know the teens don't think we're cool, but we're going to fix that. So at the end of the day, we're going to first evaluate what we're doing. The second thing is we're going to validate what we pretty much thought we knew. Thirdly, they're going to educate us on what we don't know. And then what we'll be able to do is initiate change to make our park districts better, to reach the ultimate goal of getting every child in a park. Any questions?
Is there collaboration between what these people are doing in Digitas? Because it seems like there's some overlap.
Go ahead.
That's what this is all culminating to. all these different efforts working together to sort of hone what we're doing and make us better at what we do. And in a minute, the next presentation will give you sort of a wrap-up of so far what our efforts are showing.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thanks, Tanya. Nice job. Thank you. Last, we'll hear a presentation regarding summer program registration from the Chief Program Officer.
Good afternoon, Board President and Board Commissioners. I'm happy to report that our total summer registration number is 58,119. That's a 15% increase from last year. And our predictive model suggests that we'll surpass the 60,000 registration mark by the end of next week. Of our current total, about 35,500 of those are day campers. Superintendent Kelly set a goal of 30,000 day campers, so we've exceeded that number this summer. This success is made possible in large part because of Rahm Emanuel's tremendous generosity. The summer safety surplus allowed the Park District to preserve 9,000 slots for summer day campers that otherwise wouldn't have been able to participate. It allowed several parks to lower their tier so that we could offer more competitive prices. It also allowed us to designate summer safe zones at some of our parks in more difficult areas where they got to come to the park free of charge. We expect another 2,000 teens to register in the next 2 weeks in our free teen programs. And we also have our mobile fun unit, I'm not sure if that's the correct name, that'll be going around on Thursday through Sunday to different parks, and we expect a good turnout for that as well. I'd also like to recognize our marketing department and our region staff for their effort. We made a few TV spots on NBC, worked with local aldermen, and I made a concerted effort to step up our community outreach to have this success. So, any questions? Thank you.
I certainly would like to say these are the highest numbers we've ever done. I can't, but they're the highest we've ever recorded. So I want to thank Vaughn, all the program and rec staff, all the team at the Park District. This was a concerted effort, and it's just, again, it's just the start. We're raising the bar. The bar, it's something to be proud of, and next year we know where we're at, and we know where we're going to get to next year. So I want to thank everyone on my team for the efforts turning in those types of numbers.
And Mike, you have the data collection abilities now that we'll be able to follow this intelligently year to year.
We have not only the data capabilities, but we have the mapping capabilities. I will start sending all of you packets that you can look at. It tells us specifically where we are at capacity and overwhelming at capacity, and it tells us where we're weak and our numbers are low. And really the good news is that's the challenge. There's about 20 parks in the city that are performing very low, and that allows my team to do a deep dive and to find out what is causing those low numbers and turn it around.
Okay, well, thanks for the presentations. Very exciting initiatives. And next on the agenda is People in the Parks. Will the Secretary please call the names of those who have signed up to speak?
Yes, sir. We ask that you please limit your comments to 2 minutes. Our first 3 speakers are Anthony Aniquez, Cecilia Butler, and Gary Oswald.
Good afternoon, President Joubert, Superintendent, and the Board. This is the first time I'm meeting the Vice President, Armstrong. Glad to have you on board. I'm considered a regular here every month, although some people missed the last meeting last month. And I'd like to compliment President Joubert for handling himself very well under some trying conditions. Anyhow, take that off my 2 minutes. Anyway, I just wanted to come up and I wanted to get an update on the playground for Toohey Park and the beach pads that, I was able to get some money for them. I met with Pat LeVar and Rob Raymond, and they gave me a quick lowdown on, what was going on. Even though they said what they said, I'd like to get this playground on the fast track, and stuff. The advisory council, because of the heat last week, it was so bad and stuff, we purchased two air conditioners, and I'd like to thank Sandra Olson. She right away got somebody to install them. We were afraid that little kids with that 100-degree weather was going to be up on Thursday, so we got that done. We're planning to get another 2 air conditioners. I forgot to mention that to Rob Raven or Pat to find out if the field house would be able to handle that electric. Because I don't want to be blowing any circuits and stuff or whatever. The other thing is the advisory council, seeing as the way the parks are and everything else, we purchased some security cameras that are Wi-Fi accessible. The park district can access them at any time, and so can the Chicago Police Department. I think earlier in the week I sent an email out specifying the specs on the cameras and everything else. We all have the same thing in common. We all want to see a betterment in our parks and better security and et cetera, et cetera. But that's about it. The rest of the stuff I can probably get from Pat, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time and stuff. Any questions for me or nothing? Okay. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And it is a lucky day, 7-Eleven.
Good afternoon. Cecilia Butler, Washington Park. Good news. That July 4th festival that has been giving the community purity hell is now in good terms. Thanks to the Park District and I think the Department of Human Relations. But there were no complaints for the residents that live on Cottage Grove. How about you, Commissioner? Did it sound a little less?
It wasn't as loud.
Right. And that's all it took. That's all it took. So I'm here to thank you for that process. We do have one minor complaint. The Great Harold Washington and the Olmsted little area we have on 55th Street, well, the fencing was right within that area. So we have a complaint that it was messed up just a little. So if we can get back to those folks to let them know that they have to take care of that. While you were away last month, Superintendent.
Glad everybody noticed.
Yes, we did. Especially since I had pictures for you from the Fountain of Time. Hopefully by now someone from the Park District went by there to check those cracks and crevices that were totally unwarranted and should not ever happen again. And perhaps we can get the alderman who had that carnival in front of that monument, that they next time he should take it out of his money.
Alderman Cochran.
I know who it is. Right. I appreciate that. So let him know, don't come back. I mean, there should be certain areas that are sacred. And anything like the Fountain of Time is a sacred location that should not be used for something as menial as that. So with that, I'd like to say see you next month if I have to. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let the record also reflect that Commissioner Koldyke has joined the meeting.
President Trobert, Board, CEO Kelly. My name is Gary Osaward, with the President of the South Shore Cultural Center Advisory Council. And first of all, let me congratulate you on these combined initiatives that are going on to reach our youth, to find out what the customers really need and how we can match and align what we provide with what the city expects, and the cooperation that you're doing also with not only private partners, also with the city and other sections. And we in the advisory councils and parks also work to bring us all to a higher bar. For example, the South Shore Cultural Center, we're working on the logistics of getting some equipment that's needed in there, and including risers in the auditorium, the theater, and working on ways to, with the park, just to figure out how we can get improvements to the lighting system there now for our wonderful shows. And we'll all get it done. And we're working, and our partners that provide the concerts and the other programs are working to make sure that we're getting the funding that's needed to have high quality special programs too. And there's some new partners coming in. I'll come out on July 29th and see Chicago Shakespeare Theater do Taming of the Shrew outdoors. If the weather doesn't cooperate, we'll do it indoors. But that's coming on. The Jazz Festival, we think, is going to be coming back. There's a special thing on tonight. Some of the stuff we just need to get the word out a little better to advertise and work with the publicity department of the Park District and with other ways to make sure people know that things are going on. And also, so right, impress upon
Please
our
make your
partners
closing remarks.
right, to make sure that we measure the numbers that are coming in and things too. We all need to be able to track these things in all of our parks. And we're glad you're working with to measure who's registered for the programs also. So it wasn't too many years ago we had a problem with accurate reporting. Now we can tell the capacity and throughout the district. So I just want to thank you, and we'll all raise the curve as it gradually goes along. Take care.
Thanks, Gary.
Our next three speakers are Leroy Bowers, Judy Dever, and Julia Liddell. Judy Dever?
Thank you for this time. I bring you some customer demand, or let's start by calling it customer request, which I hope you will validate, as you just saw. I'd like to talk about the outdoor swimming pool at Armour Park. Armour Park is 2 blocks north of Comiskey Park, the cell. I'm a retired teacher, and I'm choosing this summer to work on the decades-long cold pool water at the outdoor pool at Armour. The temperature of the Armour pool for, like I say, at least 20 years is about 58 degrees. A bather comfort target is 80. So I'm hoping you can validate what 95 concerned users, day camp parents, and area residents think is a serious problem that we hope you tackle by validate the problem. Send out a top engineer, take the water temperature at Armour, and please work on this. Please don't close our pool. You know, we hope this will be in a future budget. It may be in the off season of 2013 or 2014. You can solve the leak. It's a leak we've been told for decades. There's a pipe leaking or the concrete is leaking. Some of the neighbors think the drain replacements may have solved the problems. Not so. I was at the pool for the last 3 weeks. People are still shivering. It's a simple but costly problem, and I know you spent a lot of money on pools this year. So please look into the freezing water temperature at Armour Outdoor Pool. Thank you.
I know your numbers are accurate because you're not the only pool in the city that's 58 degrees. I'll work with our COO, Pat LeVar. If it's an open water system, which it probably is, to retrofit a heater is about $250,000. If it's a closed water system, it's much less. So let us take a look at it. It's open, so it's a big drop, $260,000, because it's not as simple as just putting a heater in. Let me work with our COO. He'll reach out to you, let you know, and because we're going to have to map out a funding source for this, and we'll put a plan in place. Okay.
Thanks.
Yep.
Great.
Okay, our last 4 speakers are Bobby Townsend, George Blakemore, and Louise McCurry. Stand corrected, there's only 3, excuse me.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mrs. Julia Liddell, and I'm here on behalf of naming the park 532 at 41st and Lake Park, Hattie K. Williams. Well, I was really happy to know that the Park District decided to name the park after Hattie and Izola Davis. But from what I understand, it's just going to be like Williams/Davis Park. And that sounds like one name, and it sounds like a man's name. And I would like for it to be named, and the community would like for it to be named, Dr. Hattie K. Williams and Izola Davis and Mrs. Izola Davis. I know I'm not very good at giving speeches, but I would like to have that done if possible. And I would like to see the plaque after it's done.
All right. I think let me work with our folks. The only thing I think this is a simple solution. I do think from a practical standpoint that's an awful lot on one park sign.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can agree that it'll be Williams Davis on a park sign, but then maybe we can call it formally the two names combined. We'll reach out to you. I'll work with you on this.
Okay, as long as I see the Dr. Hattie K. Williams.
You make all the sense in the world. Let me work with our folks, and I think we can come up with a simple solution.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Mike. I'm back again. I'm from Diet Recreation Center. I snuck in the school and took pictures of Diet. Diet Recreation Center is located within Diet School. As you can see, the pool is up, but the community don't know that the pool is up. Again, JCC has rented the pool out for a camp. I spoke with Patricia, the principal, Patricia Woodson, and she don't see why the community cannot use the pool from 4 to 8. I called Mr. Fisher, Eric Fisher, to find out could we get a lifeguard and security. Also, before Liz left, I made several requests. Number one, we have a tree that's libated outside the gym from one of the rec leaders who has passed. It's called Reese's tree. We wanted 2 benches around there so we could meditate, pulling on the spirit, because he did so much for that park. Number 2, we needed signage. Okay, there is no signage to let the community know that Diet Recreation Center is for the community after their school. Number 4, we needed signage. The little signs that you have pointed towards Washington Park? Okay, you got a swimmer saying Diet. Okay, we want a little stick house over to let the community know that it's an indoor pool. Number 4, are the flower beds in front of Diet. Okay, now Washington Park has their flowers up. Diet only has their flowers up just before Bud Billiken Parade. Number 5, lighting in the park. I walk. I catch the bus. There is no lighting from 51st Street, Ellsworth, which is King Drive, going towards Diet. It's dark in there. I spoke to the school. They only put lighting.
Please make your closing remarks.
As far as the black tie. What is it? Okay. But anyway, I've given this out to Liz before she left, and she promised me that she would do it. They also need the parking lot with lines. It's a lot to be done at Diet. As you can see, give my pictures back to Dana Andrews, and she'll send them back to me. ESPN, I'm not good at photography, but they did the gym, and we have a weight room, which is dynamic. You should come and check it out. Okay?
Thank you, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is George Blakemore, and looking at your agenda today and hearing the presentations from the various departments, the one that I'm most likely that I got my attention, presentation of the second quarter MB's WB's utilization report from the Director of Purchasing. Now, clearly I have emphasized, instead of using these initials and these terms, that in his report, which quarterly, he would emphasize the same thing that's in the transmittal letter, and it should be on the internet also. The race of this WBE person. Is it a white person? The race of the MBE, is it a Hispanic? Is it a black? And then come back also at his quarterly report to put the dollar amount of money that each one of these groups receive using this MBE, WBE. Transparent. When one know better, one can do better. Now, if it's on the internet and somebody pick it up and say, well, look here, the white females receive this much money. Look here, there's an Asian or Hispanic receive this much money for this contract. And look here, what the blacks receive. And then perhaps our community and our leadership and our business people would come in and try to get a bigger share of this dollar. So it's not enough to use the term WBE and MBE.
Please make your closing remarks.
We want to know specifically, I do, and people in my community, the dollar amount. And I know one of these contracts, Crystal Webb or something, where the black only got 9,000, the Hispanic got 30-something thousand, the white woman got 130,000. So when you can see, when you know better,
you
do better. When you're educated and enlightened, you can help your community. And the last thing I would like to say, I didn't read the Crane report about giving out these contracts and how the same vendors, when it comes to landscaping, are receiving these same contracts over and over again. So let's not play games. Let's not play games with the public money.
Mr. Blakemore.
We want this to be you to be inclusive, and thank you to Ms. Lavelle for putting in the transmittal letter the race of the vendor. And may God bless all of you, and thank you very much. And all of you have a peaceful and blessed day.
You as well.
Our last speaker, Ms. McCurry.
Good afternoon. I'm Louise McCurry, President of the Jackson Park Advisory Council, and it is a real pleasure to be here. I'm really excited by the programs I heard you guys talk about just now. We'd like the Nike program in Jackson Park, so if there's a way to make that happen, that would be great. First, to say thank you. We in Jackson Park this year have been able to have a wonderful new soccer field. In fact, 2 new soccer fields and football field, which are being used. We've gotten over 2,000 plants that have been planted in Wooded Island and on Bobolink Meadow, and over 300 trees. We've been able to put together a really wonderful cleaned up Laura Buda Peninsula, which I'm glad to say on this weekend, July 4th, there were over 746 kids and families that were on Laura Buda Peninsula using that cleaned up space and enjoying it. It is so exciting. And I counted 227 bicyclers who were there in 2 hours. So we've made the South Side come alive thanks to the enormous amount of help. So thank you. But there are a few things that we still have problems with, and I want to cover them very quickly so that I don't use too much time. First is that at the parking lots at 63rd and Cornell, 63rd and Lake Park, and 59th Street and 63rd Street Beach House, there are huge alcohol parties, that's the best way to say it, that go on Friday and Saturday night. And the problem with that is that folks who drink then go out and drive, and then they wrap themselves around trees on Cornell Drive and Lakeshore Drive. I've just passed 2 this morning. One morning, Memorial Day Sunday morning, I picked up 149 expensive liquor bottles from the park at 63rd and Lakeshore Drive. So folks are actually coming there to party. They don't go to the park. They just hang out in the parking lot. And unfortunately, then they go out in the drive and get in wrecks. Or the kids that leave the park at 11 o'clock with their open liquor bottles walk into the neighborhood, some with guns, and there have been problems with folks shooting into houses along 56th, 57th, and they walk along the street and are just generally rowdy and obnoxious. So if we could get the park police to call the city police and actually get these guys, they will pour out the booze. The cops say they will pour out the booze, and they will actually write tickets. A $300 ticket goes a long way in encouraging people not to bring your booze in the park. So that's our request. And finally, to get some signs in each park that say, hey, you're going to be fined. If you drink in the park, if you bring open liquor here, you're going to be fined. The fine is whatever. I'm sorry, let me hurry really fast. Okay. Second, the artificial turf at 61st and Cornell Drive was damaged on July 4th. We are so sorry by folks who put firecrackers out at 3 in the morning. We would like a fence there. We'll figure out ways to fundraise for it so that, in fact, it can be locked by Park District at night. The picture of the 6-inch craters are here. We have 8 of them. Third, the beach at 67th Street has 3 big safety issues. One is the stair steps. 4 of them. The first beach, this is what it looked like in the 1960s before White Flight took place. This, unfortunately, is what it looks like today. There are 4 stair steps that have a 4-foot drop from the walkway down to the beach. There's numerous amounts of garbage along the beach because of the invasive species that are grown up among the rocks. We've taken all that down twice this year, but unfortunately, Park District folks can't get in there because they've been told it's unsafe. Sorry. So it's all written down, but thank you so much, because what we'd like to be doing in JPAC is teaching and bringing volunteers in and making good things happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There are no more speakers.
Next on the agenda is a report from the Committee on Administration. Vice President Armstrong.
The Committee on Administration met on July 11, 2012 to consider matters referred from June 14 to July 11, 2012, and hereby recommends that its report be adopted. Adopted item number 1, adoption of the Department of Human Resources Policy and Procedure Manual. Adopted item number 2, resolution adopting a risk management safety manual. Adopted item number 3, authorization to participate in City of Chicago contract number 17532, purchase of Stryker evacuation chairs. That concludes the report of the Committee on Administration, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
Will the Secretary take a roll call for the adoption of this matter?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Shalaby.
Aye.
Commissioner Koldyke.
Aye.
Commissioner Hanlon.
Aye.
Commissioner Lavelle.
Aye.
Commissioner Salgado.
Aye.
Vice President Armstrong.
Aye.
President Trobert.
Aye.
Motion carried, and the report is adopted.
The Committee on Programs and Recreation met on July 11, 2012 to consider matters referred from June 14th to July 11, 2012, and hereby recommends that its report be adopted. Item number 1, authorization to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with the Chicago Federation of Musicians, Local 10-208, AF&M. Item number 2, authorization to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with the American Musical Guild, Inc. Item number 3, request to name Margate Playground in honor of Bill Hirsch. Item number 4, request to initiate 45-day notice period to name the Fernwood Park outdoor basketball court in honor of Mac Irvin. That concludes the report of the Committee on Programs and Recreation, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
If no objection, we'll apply the last favorable roll call vote from the prior matter to this matter.
No objection.
Motion carried, and the report is adopted.
The Committee on Capital Improvements met on July 11, 2012 to consider matters referred from June 14th to July 11, 2012, and hereby recommends that its report be adopted. Item number 1, authorization to enter into a contract award for artificial turf at Livingston Park, Park 510. Item number 2, authorization to enter into a contract for landscape maintenance services for Women's, Bartlemay, and future parks. These items were adopted. That concludes the report of the Committee on Capital Improvements, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
If no objection, we'll apply the last favorable roll call vote from the prior matter to this matter.
Next on the agenda is a report from the Committee of the Whole.
Motion carried, and that matter, the report will be adopted.
Sorry. Next on the agenda is a report from the Committee of the Whole. The Committee of the Whole met this morning in executive session to discuss 2 settlements, review executive session minutes, and have the following matters of new business. The Board of Commissioners approved the settlement agreement of Anthony Dinkins versus the Chicago Park District in the amount of $185,000. The Board of Commissioners also approved of the settlement agreement of Hilda Miller versus the Chicago Park District in the amount of $500,000. Last, the Board of Commissioners reviewed the executive session minutes as required by the Code of the Chicago Park District, Chapter 2, Section A, subsection 16F, and per the Code of the Chicago Park District, Chapter 2, Section A, subsection 16D, approved the destruction of verbatim records for July 14th, 2010, September 15th, 2010, October 13th, 2010, December 11th, 2010. The Board of Commissioners, per the Code of the Chicago Park District, Chapter 2, Section A, subsection 16F2, also approved the release of the following executive session minutes for public inspection. January 11th, 2012, February 8th, 2012, March 14th, 2012, April 11th, 2012, May 9th, 2012, June 13th, 2012. That concludes the report of the Committee of the Whole, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
If no objection, will apply the last favorable roll call vote from the prior matter to this matter.
Motion carried and the report is adopted.
Under unfinished business, nothing was presented for consideration. Under new business, nothing was presented for consideration. That concludes the board meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. The board meeting is now adjourned.